Okay, so we're going to show you how to splice this 8-gauge wire. You probably need to do this to repair a harness or something, so let's give that a try. I'm going to simulate this by cutting this piece of 8-gauge wire. It's pretty thick. I'm going to reveal, so we probably want to reveal about let's shoot for, call it 3/8, just about on each side. So you want to do this on the main harness. Expose some good metal. And we'll simulate the repair harness. Do another 3/8 plus or minus. Now you don't want to cut the main conductor. That won't be helpful. And I started to do that here, so that's no good. But I think you get the idea. Okay, so what else do I have? I have a piece of heat shrink. You should have this. You'll want to make sure to run that through as far away as you can. Call it, 4 or 5 inches back if you can. And then I have this little piece of wire. And what I did is I really need the strand out of this because I'm going to use it to bind the two conductors together. So, find yourself a piece of cable and then peel away a few of these conductors. Oof. That's okay. Probably need to be a little longer than this, but what we're going to do is use these to wrap the cable. Okay, so got that. Now we have these two, just imagine. Got these two conductors, and what we're going to want to do, and we've already slid our heat shrink, don't forget. Now what we want to do is spread this out as much as you dare to. Doesn't have to be too much. Now this is an 8-gauge cable. And the conductors are kind of stiff, so kind of just carefully spread these. And spread it. Take your time. No rush here. Okay, those are spread. Now similarly on your body harness or replacement harness, other side, spread it out. Hopefully the gauges match or are close. we're going to do is we're going to stab these two pieces together and try and get them to overlap to the extent possible. Okay. So you should have something like this, and then what we're going to do is kind of force them together, and then with some force them together tightly. Okay. Kind of get them to overlap. And you can use some tools here. Squeeze it the best you can. But you want some nice metal here. Contact. Alright. The conductor strands overlapping to the extent possible. Alright. Next thing you'll need is you want to take a minute, get yourself some flux, and go ahead, and maybe you want to do this before, you know, teach his own, but this flux is really going to allow for that solder solder to wick through the cable. Okay, so now I've got this kind of mechanically engaged. Now what I want to do, and it probably won't be as effective on the 8 gauge, but certainly on the smaller gauges this is very helpful, is you take your cable and you wrap it as tight as you can with your conductor. Now I didn't get one that's quite long enough, so take note of that. You want something that's a bit longer if you can help it, but just wrap it. And this, you know, the idea here is that it's an aid to keep them together, so when you're fiddling with it, you're not trying to keep the cables together while soldering it. Right? It's already mechanically latched to a degree, and really you can focus on just soldering. Alright, so I've got that there. I think that's probably okay. And I like to make it tighter. If it were up to me, I would make this one long piece, but this is what I have, and you understand, and this is still going to come out okay. Go ahead and paint yourself a little bit more. Okay, and then this should pretty much be suspended now in your vehicle. Now I'm going to use my helping hands to hold this as I simulate this cable just kind of floating, in the vehicle. Okay, next thing you want to do is fire up your soldering iron. You want it hot. I'm going to heat mine up to 750 degrees Fahrenheit, and I will be using some vintage Radio Shack solder that is 6040. It's lasted quite a while. Good stuff. So, and a Weller soldering iron. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Oops, sorry for the bump. here it's just about quantity. This joint will need a lot of solder. It's filling up nicely. Keep going. Now you're gonna have to roll this. Cable is quite hot, and you're gonna have to manage that. So you don't want to damage the insulation. But I don't have my exhaust fan running, but I should. It's broken. It's filling up very nicely. Kind of see it wicking in between. We are almost done. Almost done here. Now this cable is actually very hot. Which is probably why it's doing so well now with the now you want to see it kind of soften up all the way around and wick in. That's how you know. That's how you know you made it. Now I got a nice little bubble here. So I got plenty. So I am fully soldered as far as I'm concerned here. I'm gonna let that cool for just a second and examine my work. Let's take a look. Looks like a nice joint. It is very hot, this whole thing. And we'll be right back after this cools. Okay, I think this is cool enough. So we're gonna finish this job by rolling the heat shrink that we had previously installed over the work, like that. And go ahead and grab yourself a lighter and just shrink it on down. This heat shrink has an adhesive that seals the insulation on both ends. You kind of see it ooze out there, and I'll give you a close-up of that in just a second. There we go. All right. So, I'm not sure you can see that little goop there, that adhesive kind of squeezed out both sides. So this thing is nice and tight. It's a nice joint. I would feel very comfortable with this, and go for it. Should work out great. I think when you're done, just go ahead and bind all the other cables together with some vinyl tape, and you should have yourself a nice repair. See you later.